Croeso sianel Blaid Llwyd. And here we are, starting NeveN. This is the last of the new series I'll be introducing this year. There's quite a lot of more stuff to go through here and everywhere else, so there'll be no new stuff coming. But I hope you're going to enjoy this one. I've read through some of it, and it's quite interesting. I'm not going to say too much more. I'll let you see how it is yourself. You're leaving tomorrow. Who knows when we'll meet again? One last song, please? I scratched my chin thoughtfully. It was obvious I wanted to sing. There's nothing wrong with a bit of teasing. It's much more fun than to accept without hesitation. I don't know. After all, if you really cared about me, I don't think you'd have left me with an empty mug for so long. I shake the aforementioned mug in front of my audience as I grossly exaggerate my sorrow. A bit dramatic, but it's part of the job. And it looks like it worked. I can hear a few laughs echoing among the members of my band. My old band. Tomorrow, at dawn, they will leave towards the east of the kingdom, while I'll be travelling to the north to the capital city, Frostfang. Our paths will split, and it's impossible to know when we'll be together again. The touring bands and musicians aren't known to be predictable in their pathing, especially Ragor's band. You can keep it, he has long ears, but his mug, we'll pay for him. Long ears, really? Well, not very original. Yeah, after emptying half a barrel, I feel a bit more playful. Now that his lordship's mug is full, is it possible to hear him sing? I smile while looking at my mug before finally sticking my tongue out at my companions. I look around me, trying to find a small fennec in the crowd, and nodding my head when I see her. Liana, could you give me the pleasure of a melody? Sure, do we go with something joyful? I nod briefly to answer Liana's question. She pulls her tambourine out of her satchel. I then stand up, having always preferred to perform that way, while my partner briefly closes her eyes. She concentrates to make the brand in the shape of a circle imprinted on the shoulder glow. She was lucky to wear the brand of Illyria, the goddess of light, one of the most sought-after brands among the artists. When her fingers brush the leather of her instrument, they leave behind a trail of blue light, gently vibrating to the rhythm she begins to create. Each new note launches a wave which collides with the others, the colours varying and changing between the different waves. I can't help but be jealous. Being the only member of the band who hasn't yet received his brand tends to do that to you. I'm 22 and it's a bit late to be branded. Most people had theirs during their teenage years. I know that it will eventually appear, that one of the 12 gods will choose me. Everyone gets a brand sooner or later. But patience has never been my strong suit, and it was starting to be a really long wait. I hope it will be worth it. Not knowing which god would choose me was frustrating. I could get the light or air brand, which would be perfect for my musical performances, or I could get the war brand, and that would be useless to me. I don't have time to think about it any longer. I have an audience to satisfy and a song to perform. I let Indiana play for a while, open my jaw wide, and the lyrics come out in rhythm with the music. As far as I can remember, I've always loved being in front of a crowd, dancing, singing, or just making people laugh with my own little passion. Not wanting to brag, but I'm good at it. Really good. I know how to hypnotise my audience and how to attract attention. I make up for my small size with boundless energy, bouncing around like the white rabbit I am. Accompanying Diana's music, I start to sing a drinking song. It's only appropriate given our location. Each pause in the melody is the occasion to take a sip and have fun with the crowd. I find myself quickly standing on the table, making large gestures and pointing at my companions when it's their turn to empty their mug, which they obviously do without hesitation. One after another, their voices accompany mine, which makes me smile even more. It was my last night with these people, and I fully intended to enjoy the moment till my voice would break. And now, raise your mug and drink, drink, drink! As requested by the song, I empty my mug in one gulp, clicking my tongue when it's done and bowing in front of my audience. As I get up, I stick my tongue out to those who are still looking at me, and I wink at them as I come down the table. You know, Erik, I think I'll never get tired of hearing you sing. Rago, I was afraid I wouldn't see you again till tomorrow morning. We're missing the party? Never. Plus, I wanted to see you, to talk a bit in private. If you don't mind leaving your audience, of course. I take a moment to look at the crowd, and I see they're very busy emptying their mugs and loudly chattering with each other. I believe they could survive without me for a few minutes. As if my crowd wanted to contradict me, the sound of shattered glass reaches my ears, making me wince briefly. Well, I hoped they could survive without me for a few minutes. I'm starting to wonder what you'll do while I'll be gone. Ragor answers me with a laugh, obviously not sharing my concerns. He then beckons me to follow him. We both go and sit at a small, secluded table away from the noise. The Labrador sighs heavily as he sits, losing his gaze in mine, which caused me to squirm uncomfortably in my seat. Ragor's eyes always made me feel as they were piercing straight through my head, as if he always knew what I was thinking, even when I tried to hide it. So Erik, are you sure you're ready for tomorrow? As ready as I can be. I know the road, although usually I'm with you. Plus it's only a 2-day trip. I should be okay. That's precisely what worries me. Been a long time since you were alone, and the last time... Ragor, no. It's not the same situation. I just want to make sure. I said no. I was really no intention to talk about what happened 3 years ago. No. It's locked up in my head and we don't need to talk about that again. I stare at Ragor as seriously as I can, sighing when I see the Labrador looking away. I just want to check one last time. Are you sure you want to go? You know we always love to have you at our sides. This is a golden opportunity and I'm proud that you're becoming independent. Well, after all, it's the best way to improve yourself. Doesn't mean I'm happy to see you leave. I'd love to stay with the band, Ragor, but be a royal bard? This is an opportunity they have to take, unless you don't think I can win. I give him a playful look, curious to see his reaction. Don't be ridiculous. You know how I feel about your talents. Unless you get yourself another one of those silly situations you know so well, you should win this tournament easily. I don't see what you... I really have to remind you what happened in Kelt? How would I have known he was engaged? Or in Tenarion? I told you it was an accident. Mermion? Alright, I get it. I promise not to sleep in any other bed but mine by the end of the contest. How does that sound to you? I guess that's all I can hope for. Serious though, Erik. Trying to create any diplomatic incident, okay? I mumble and shrug as an answer. Sure, there have been a few incidents before, but I was perfectly capable of controlling myself. It makes me look like a much bigger pervert than I am. There's a moment of silence between us. That doesn't bother me. We've known each other long enough that we've been accustomed to those moments. When I look up to him again, I see his smile stretching his chops, and I feel like joining him. Hey, Ragor? Yeah? I just wanted... I want to thank you. Well, thank me? Why? For everything you've done. For welcoming me into the band. I don't think I've told you before. So I really wanted to do it before I left. Don't know where I'd be if you hadn't found me, and... I'm interrupted by Ragor's big paw resting on my head, stroking me gently between the ears. The Labrador gives me a reassuring look, his gaze in mine, and I can feel tears forming in my eyes. Shit. Promised myself I wouldn't cry. Get yourself together, Erik. I'll just say it. Having you with us has been a pleasure. A bit complicated at first, I'm not going to lie to you. It caused a few surprises, but it was a pleasure nonetheless. Best way to thank me is go to Frostfang, impress the kings and become the court bard. Make us proud, Erik, that's all I ask of you. He withdraws his paw before smiling at me as I feel my cheeks flush under my fur. I was going to miss Ragor once I was gone. I have no doubts about that. That lovely little moment quickly stops and I see Ragor's smile widen even more, his white fangs now almost entirely revealed under his chops. Oh no, he always makes that face when he's about to embarrass me. Now if you really want to make me happy... Ragor, you'd always find a sweet boyfriend there, something lasting, you know. Ragor, please. I shrivel up in my seat, getting lower and lower as I try to hide behind the table. This is not the first time Ragor has brought up the subject. I know exactly where he plans to go next, and I really don't want to talk about it. Even thinking about adopting kids, I could teach them to not be like their father. Please, Ragor, stop it. I'm way too young to think about that. I don't have kids anyway. I value my freedom. Who knows it? Could be an opportunity for me to settle down somewhere once and for all. I could be Grandpa Ragor and... Alright, it's time to get out of here. I need a subtle escape. Would you look at that? It's getting pretty late. I think it's time to go to sleep. I have a long road ahead of me. Very subtle, Erik. Very subtle. I get out so quickly the Labrador doesn't have time to convince me to stay. We're interrupted by his laugh. He obviously got what he wanted. It was too late to hide my embarrassment. Before you go to sleep, Owen wants to see you. Owen? Do you know why? I believe he has a gift for you. Owen's one of the caravan's guards responsible for our protection during the tours. We get along quite well, but he didn't strike me as the kind of guy to give parting gifts. He's upstairs, so you'll run into him anyway. I'll see what he wants from me. Good night, Ragor, and try to keep in touch with me, okay? I promise you we'll see each other soon enough. Goodbye, Erik. Good luck. With one last look, I finally leave the Labrador behind me. Kind of strange. I'm both excited and sad about this separation. After all, I could become a royal bard. It was an opportunity not to be missed. Even more so because I was sure I was good enough to win that tournament. At the same time, I've known Ragor, Owen and the rest of the band for the past 3 years. 3 years without being alone, never had to think about my problems. I just had to enjoy the moment. Do I really want to leave after all? Nobody can blame me for staying with my family, right? I'm living a good life here, with them. They're heading east and I can't follow them. There's no way I'm going back there. No, I've made my decision. It's hard to leave this comfortable life, but I have to. After all, I'm only going to be alone during the trip. I've no doubt once in Frostfang I'll be surrounded by a lot of good people. It's the capital city, after all. It must be bursting with life. I shake myself before heading up the stairs. Owen is waiting for me after all, and I have to admit I'm quite curious as to what he wants to give me. Once upstairs I can see the wolf leaning against the wall, watching me with a dead serious stare. It took you a long time to come. Ragor just told me you wanted to see me. So, you have a present for me? I knew you loved me deep down. Owen grunts and rolls his eyes. Look at that. Could I be right? I always decide not to give you anything, you know. Especially if that's the only reason you came to see me. Don't be like that. You're my favourite guard, you know. I'd have come to say goodbye anyway. The gift is just the icing on the cake. I give the wolf a big smile, making myself as charming as possible. Being cute is one of my biggest perks, and I've always used that advantage. I'm sure you would. Do you know how sad a wolf can get when left alone? Before I have time to react, Owen grabs me by the hips to hug me tightly. One brief moment I think about resisting, but finally I hug him back. This is the last time I can do this before a while, so might as well let him enjoy it. Plus, I'm not going to complain. Get to be snuggled up against the muscular chest of a big wolf after all. Owen and I had a few dates together, never anything serious. We quickly came to the conclusion that being friends with benefits was the best situation for both of us. So this kind of closeness was not uncommon between us. In fact, it was even really welcome at the moment. I also hope you'll miss me when you get to the big city. You won't you forget your favourite guard? I'll make an effort to try to remember you. It might be difficult though. After all, I will be at the royal court. I'm sure there are plenty of other guards just as attractive as you. Now, if I had anything to help me remember, then it would certainly be much easier to think about you. I get it, okay. You want your present. I stick my tongue out playfully. He knows I'm not patient, and the thought of receiving a gift doesn't help in that regard. He pushes me away, before grabbing his belt and doing it in front of me. I can't help but chuckle at his little show. Oh, that kind of gift. You'd at least wait until we're in the bedroom. I'm not sure everyone would like to stumble upon that kind of performance. What? What are you talking? Oh. I see the wolf's ears drop instantly as he blushes slightly. I don't get to embarrass him often enough, and I was glad I did. That was quite the sight. Trying to think of your cock, will you? You can understand why I could be confused. Why are you taking your belt off exactly? Because you're going to need it. Yeah, it's for you. He hands me his belt, which has a scabbard attached to it and his sword sheathed inside. I look briefly at his wide smile, trying to understand why he's so proud of himself. Thank you. I always appreciate a gift, but you forgot your sword. You're going to need it, and I've got plenty of weapons, so don't worry about me. I look at the blade dubiously, giving Owen the exact same look. You know I don't like weapons, don't you? I'm not particularly good with a sword anyway. That was never my thing. You'll take it. It's not negotiable. Owen's tone is suddenly much more serious. Strange. He never talks to me like that usually. Why does he want me to have a weapon so badly? You're going to be all alone on the road. You don't even have a brand to defend yourself. There's no way you're leaving like that. So you take that sword, you keep it at your side, and if need be, you use it. I taught you the basics so you can fight. I sincerely hope you don't have to, but I'll not let you go without a means to defend yourself, that's all. I grumble slightly and end up putting on the belt, tying it to my waist. Obviously, it's not my size, so I have to tighten it to the maximum. Even then, I feel like it doesn't fit perfectly. I feel absolutely ridiculous wearing this. Hope you're aware of that. You're exaggerating. If you weren't so cute, you'd almost be impressive. Almost. Owen smiles, showing his fangs as he briefly raises his eyebrows. I can't help but sigh. Subtlety had never been his strength when it came to seduction. It's not with a bit of a flirt that you're going to improve how I see myself. I know exactly what I look like. Maybe, but that could win me my parting gift, right? Oh, so there was indeed another reason you took your belt off then. And there it was, believing your thoughts were pure for once. Well, I'm not going to be able to appreciate that fine wiggling ass of yours for a while. That's what's keeping me walking during our trips. Let me have it one last time. You're a real wordsmith, Owen. A true gentleman. Doesn't mean that you refuse my offer. Touché. I'm obviously never against having a little fun, especially with someone so physically pleasing. I just promised Araga I would not sleep with them until the end of the contest. Plus, I really need a bit of sleep since I'm going to walk a lot tomorrow. On the other hand, the likelihood of initiating a diplomatic incident while sleeping with Owen is pretty low. Besides, everyone knows we sleep better after a bit of fun, right? What to do? It's the last time we see each other, so why not take this opportunity to have a good time? I slowly slide my paw against his, tying our fingers together as I give him a most charming smile. I guess I can put the effort into one last gift. Follow me to my room. After a while I found myself following the lines of his brand with a finger. It was a triangle underlined with multiple lines, a little below his right eye. The brand of Argon, god of fire. I'll have yours soon enough, you know. What are you talking about? Your brand. It'll show up. Everyone gets one. I know, it's just... Why so late? I don't know anyone my age without a brand. It's frustrating to see you all able to do these magical things and I'm here with... nothing. You remind me of my brother. I'm not sure that's what your lover wants to hear in this kind of situation, you know. I didn't mean that, you brat. My brother got his brand much later in his group of friends. Didn't appear until he was 20. He was furious about it. He was complaining all the time. They couldn't spend an evening at home without hearing him bitch about not having his brand. It was my mom who finally found a way to calm him down. She told him something like... wait, how did she say it? Ah, yes. You know, maybe your brand appears later than others because the gods need more time to refine it. When it will take shape, it will be the brightest and biggest of them all, you'll see. She was right, you know. He spent the next few days teasing everyone with his brand after he got it. I remember how proud he was. You never know, maybe it'll be the same for you. If it takes that long, then must mean your brand will be unique, much bigger than you could imagine. I remained silent. Owen never spoke to me like that before. I didn't even know he had a brother until now. Being reassured by someone usually so cold was kind of heartwarming. I can feel a weight leaving my chest as I put my muzzle forward to kiss him again. Thanks, I needed to hear that. He doesn't say a thing. He doesn't need to. I guess that's a goodbye then. Looks like it. Protect the band for me, will you? I don't know what I'd do if something happened to them. It was my job. And you, try your best to be careful, please. I want to find you in good health when we meet again. Sure, promised. I watch him leave and sigh heavily as a hint of sadness pierces my chest. Once alone in my room and lying in my bed, I take a moment to reflect on and reconsider my decisions. Not that I have any doubt I'm doing the good choice, but leaving my troop behind me is bound to change my life drastically. The real question is whether I am up to the task. I don't be homeless again just because I made a stupid decision. I turn around, burying my head in my pillow. I'm too late to turn back anyway. The best thing to do now is to sleep and be ready for tomorrow. I open my eyes, having no idea where I am. It looks like some sort of cave or a circular cellar. Around me are 12 thrones carved in the rock, arranged in a circle. I can't see any trace of a door or a window, or no way out. I can feel the panic starting to settle. I don't know how I got there, I don't know how to leave. So I open my mouth to call for help, realize I can't make any sound. Can't move either. What the fuck is going on? What is this place? Who are you? And what are you doing here? A deep voice echoes through the cave. I can't hear where it's coming from. There's no trace of worry in the manly voice, only curiosity. It doesn't really reassure me. In front of me, the shadows suddenly seem to take shape, forming the creature almost looks like someone. I don't know how, but I immediately understand. This shape I see, these bones materializing. It's someone's brand. The gigantic brand of a really, really powerful person. I feel like my heart is going to explode in my chest. I've never been so terrified in my life. Hush, little one. I'm not here to hurt you. I can't. This is all just a dream after all. And we risk nothing in our dreams. It's well known. The voice comes out of the shadows. I don't know what this is, but I can feel it watch me from head to toe, inspecting every part of my body, almost medically. Don't you have a brand yet? Interesting. We shouldn't have access to this place unless... Oh, I understand now. You're one of the 4, aren't you? That's going to make things a lot more interesting. One of the 4? What is he talking about? What's happening? I tried to think about an answer, an understanding, and I finally settled on a word. It's a dream. Nothing said here makes any sense or has any impact. That thought calms me down a bit. You're a little early at the party, so go back to sleep and don't think about it anymore. It's just a weird dream that you will soon forget. With each new word coming from the shadows, I feel my eyelids grow heavy. I struggle to stay awake, not wanting to fall asleep in this forsaken place, in front of a stranger. We'll meet again, and then the real game can begin. I sink like a stone in the water and fall back into a dreamless sleep. When I open my eyes again, I'm in my room, all alone. There is no trace of a shadow, a cave or anything like that. With a long sigh, I stretch slowly. I don't know what happened exactly, but it's one of the strangest dreams I've had in a while. Come to think of it, I can still feel a shiver going down my spine, making me shake a bit. I'm not used to remembering what happens in my sleep, so I'm not too surprised to be affected like that. I always had trouble waking up. It's all the more true when no one is here to shake me up. I very much intend to take my time and enjoy my peace. No one to shake me up. The sudden realization I'm all alone comes to me. For 3 years I was surrounded by a dozen other people, and now it's just me. Of course we have our own rooms when possible. There's always someone to knock on my door and throw me out of bed. But here, there was no one to rush me, no one to push me, no one to tell me to move. Only silence. Rago and the others were already gone. They were planning their departure a little before dawn, and I can see the sun shining through the window. My chest tightens as I realize my loneliness. It's weird to suddenly find myself in this situation. Any moment I expect to see someone come in and interrupt me, or to hear a voice, a song. Nothing. Just my thoughts and a heavy silence. I shouldn't stay idle, so I fidget and jump out of bed before quivering when my paws hit the cold ground. If winter isn't here yet, it will be soon enough. The first snowfall of the year happened a few days earlier. The temperature is not going to increase on my way to the capital. It's not called Frostfang for nothing. Speaking of the trip, I can't afford to spend the morning doing nothing in this room, so I get dressed quickly before stuffing my belongings in my backpack. I look at Owen's belt and hanging from my hips, the sword dangling on the side. It's still too big for me and leans a bit to the side, but at least I'm not totally defenceless now. The wolf is right. Walking around all alone, unarmed and without a brand is just asking to be killed out there, in the woods. Once I'm ready, I open the door and walk out into the hallway of the inn. At least that's what I try to do, for I feel my paws getting caught in something on the floor, causing me to fall over it. It was all but graceful. Shit, who put this mess on my doorstep? I get up as quickly as possible, looking back to see what tripped me. In front of my room is a set of small bags and other wrapped items. I can see pieces of cake, cookies, and a few nuts. Those were parting gifts my companions couldn't give me yesterday. A wide smile stretches my lips, and I have to make an effort to hold back a tear. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. Thank you. I can't stop smiling while picking up my presents, slipping them into the free space left in my backpack. I just keep a bag of cookies in my paw. I'll put these delicious gifts to good use soon enough. It'll save me having to pay for lunch. I hope I can thank you one day. Behind our house, there is a mountain. Me and my spouse climb it under the rain. Going there, by the gods, it's difficult. And I swear, it could kill an adult. I sing the last lines with a hint of impatience in my voice. I've been walking for hours and I'm sincerely starting to get sick of it. It started to snow 2 hours earlier. My feet are soaked and I'm starting to feel cold. On top of that, I'm quickly exhausting my classical repertoire. I'm going to have to switch to bawdy songs I want to keep busy. Yeah, it's not necessarily something I want to do alone in the middle of the road. I must admit that when I left in the morning, I expected a lot of things, but certainly not to be that bored. During my trips, I usually sing with my troupe. I play card games or I discuss. While travelling solo, my options are limited, so I find myself singing alone, doomed to only be able to exchange a few words with even fewer travellers I meet from time to time. Pretty hard to come up with interesting variations of, "It's getting cold, I hope you have a good trip," during the few seconds of discussion I'm trying to enjoy. Come on, Erik, let's stay focused. Think about your goal. You're about to enter Frostfang. You're going to enter this contest, crush the competition and become a royal bard. So lift your head and keep walking at least a little while longer for enjoying a little bit of rest. Determined, I lift my leg to take a new step when I feel my paw get stuck in something. Oh no. Please, not again. As if time has slowed down, I feel my body, propelled by its momentum, leaning more and more dangerously forward as I see the snowy ground closing in on me. I barely have time to put my hands in front of me to try and soften the fall, before finding myself with my muzzle buried in the snow. That's it. I can't take any more. I give up. The gods have obviously decided it's my fate to stay on the ground. Who am I to fight against their will? Congratulations, you won. Now that I've accepted my destiny, can I have my brand, pretty please? No answer, which is hardly surprising. One can still keep on dreaming, I guess. Well, I can't really spend my day lying in the snow. I'd have to... What's this? I'm pretty sure the thing I tripped on just moved. And I'm absolutely sure that the branches on the ground aren't supposed to move by themselves. Help. It spoke. Oh no, it's someone. I ran into someone. Fuck. As quickly as possible, I get up and turn to look at the mass buried under a thin layer of snow. At least my fall allowed me to find the person on whom I've tripped and who continues to talk weakly. I clear as much snow from the unfortunate stranger, briefly noticing he's a falcon. I then stay focused on my task, having bigger problems right now rather than figuring out what he's doing there. Considering the way he shakes and whispers while having clothes aren't intended for the season, looks like he's in hypothermia. I have to do something, now. Okay, Erik, stay focused. You prepared yourself for this kind of situation. You know what to do. I have to get the falcon out of the snow right now, to keep him wakened to warm him up. Hey, I'm here, I'll help you. But now I need you to talk to me, understood? Stay awake, it's important. Cold. Yes, it's cold. I will warm you up, don't worry. I didn't need an answer, only keep his mind occupied. Without waiting for an answer, I quickly run my paw over his shirt. Shit, it's wet with snow. You can't stay that way. Your clothes are wet. I have to take them off. Are you okay with it? No answer. That's bad. I have to hurry. I look at the sides of the road, trying to find a less exposed place to secure the falcon. A few meters from our position, I finally see a patch of dirt below a few trees partially protecting from the snowfall. It's far from perfect, but it'll do. Going to move to a drier place. Try to hold on to me. Still no answer. I slip my arm into the falcon's shoulder to carry him as best as I can, finally starting to feel him trying, without much success, to tighten his grip around me. He can still move. That's a small victory in itself. The process is neither easy nor pleasant, but I have no time to complain. Once I arrive, I quickly rummage through my bag to pull out a blanket and throw it on the ground. Don't exactly have time to pitch my tent yet. We'll do with what we have. The blanket should be cozy, and I hope the falcon will be too, soon enough. I lay him down and start removing his shirt, which seems to wake him up a bit. He opens a tired eye, which makes it seem like he's looking at me without seeing me. What it doing? Your clothes are soaked. You'll never be able to get warm with that, so I'm going to remove them, give you one of my shirts, and bundle you up in a blanket. Then I'm going to start a fire to keep you warm. I'm sure it's something you'll both enjoy. Oh, thank you. I can only hope he stays awake now. Falling asleep in this kind of situation is rarely a good sign. I quickly finish removing the falcon's clothes before pulling my spare outfit on my bag. He's taller than me, that will do for now. Once the stranger dressed again, I roll him up in the blanket and take the time to observe him a little more closely. It's quite rare we see this species in our regions. This kind of falcons generally don't like the temperatures here, with a few rare exceptions, so I don't often have the opportunity to see them from that close. His feathers seem quite strange to me, look incredibly smooth and soft. However, the weirdest thing about him are his eyes, or rather what's under them. The gold thread that underlines each of his eyes seems directly attached to the feathers themselves, almost as if it's a natural part of its plumage. I've never seen this before, but I've heard about it. I know the meanings of such decoration. A mysterious stranger is not a citizen of the kingdom. He is Mercadian, and this simple fact makes him even more interesting to me. However, he'll only be interesting as long as he's alive. Let's not rush things. I unwrap a small package hanging on the side of my bag, revealing a series of branches and straw. It's all I need to start a fire, at least until I find a few dry branches. I quickly build the base of my fire while turning to the falcon and start a discussion. My name's Erik, by the way. What's yours? Aket. Ha, I knew it. You're Mercadian, right? Yes. Is it that obvious? The gold under your eyes. Also, only a Mercadian will walk around so scantily clad in this kind of weather. You're used to the heat of the desert, not for a good old cold. I smiled, trying to cheer him up with the hope of at least a slight grin. Alas, I only win a sigh. Looks like my audience is quite difficult to please. I usually have better reactions. I guess you're right. I didn't expect the weather to be so cold. Thanks for finding me, and everything else. Everyone had done the same, just like I ran into you. Literally, in that case. I'm trying my best to wink this time. Ha! A smile. Very discreet, but it's here. My self-proclaimed legendary sense of humour strikes again. Oh, thank the gods for that indeed. Things could have been a lot worse. It takes a few seconds to look around as I strike some stones with my lighter, producing a few sparks which quickly ignite the straw, a gentle heat spreading slowly around us. I can't see my loot. Did you put it somewhere safe? Your loot? I give him a puzzled look, having no idea what he's talking about. I can see the interrogation in his eyes quickly being replaced by sheer panic. At a loot with me. Tell me you picked it up, please. I don't think I saw anything. I was kind of busy trying to get you out of the snow, save your life, all this and all that. All I have for an answer is an anguished moan. He obviously cares very much about his loot. I sigh as I get up, pointing my finger at him. I'm going to take a look and try to find it. You don't do anything silly and you don't move. You have to warm up, okay? He answers me by grumbling. Great. I hope I'll get his instrument back, because I'm not travelling with a grumpy falcon. Going back to where I found him, I keep my eyes on the snow-covered road. Instruments aren't my speciality. I know that prolonged stay in this environment will do it no good. The sooner I find this loot, the better it will be for both it and for its owner. Not to mention that with the sun starting to set, I can feel the temperature dropping. Even I'm starting to feel cold. I greatly appreciate being near the fire quickly. After a few moments of rummaging, I finally spot a bump in the snow. Please be this God's forsaken instrument. In an instant, I bend down and brush off the snow accumulated on the instrument in Aket's bag. Think about it. It's strange he didn't worry about his belongings at all. Once I feel the neck of the lute under my fingers, I lift it up and take a quick glance at the instrument to look at its condition, and... oh fuck. I understand his concern now. Who is this guy and how could he afford this? It's clearly the most beautiful instrument I've been able to lay my eyes upon. The wood is entirely black. I think it's called ebony? I believe it's the word. I've seen such material once when a nobleman tried to impress us with a piece of furniture that cost him a fortune. On top of that, the wood is finely etched with a series of curves and circles that emphasise the shapes of the lute. It's covered with a layer of shiny varnish which seems to have totally protected the instrument from the snow. You can also see there are gold threads decorating some of the engravings, contrasting with the dark colouring of the wood. The end result is absolutely stunning. And clearly very, very expensive. I could sell it and live more than comfortably for months, maybe even a year. What is Aket's true identity, and how could he put his talent on such a treasure? Did you find it? I spent more time than I thought looking at the loot. I get up quickly before heading back toward our camp. Yeah, I found your loot in your bag too. Everything seems in good condition, so no need to worry. I quickly come close to the campfire. Aket is busy rubbing his arms in an attempt to warm up. I'd avoid doing that if I were you. I know it looks like a good idea, but believe me, it's not. What are you talking about? Your arms. You're going to warm up too quickly and it's not good for you. Just sit still and let the warmth of the fire do its job. Also heat some water if you have something hot to drink. Oh, thanks. I didn't know. You're welcome. Even here in the north it's not common knowledge. It's a reflex to try to warm up after all. That problem being solved, I hand him his bag and his loot. He barely glances at his belongings before throwing them on the ground. He gently takes his instrument and inspects it from all angles, slowly sliding his fingers along the curves of the wood. He clearly cares about this loot. Now that I've seen it, I can fully understand him. If I had such a masterfully crafted work of art between my hands, I'm sure I would take care of it with the utmost respect as well. Hey, Aket, can I ask you a question? Oh, yeah, sure. What do you want to know? It's been a while since I've been in the business now, and I've never seen a loot like this. How did you manage to have something like that? It's absolutely beautiful. Oh, I can understand why. Oh, wait, which business? A hero musician too? In the rush, I had not enough time to properly introduce myself. I bowed to him with a big smile, mimicking an exaggerated reverence as I looked in his eyes. Erik from Scala, singer, dancer, and wanderer. Nice to meet you. I lower my head briefly and stick my tongue out to the falcon, who was kind enough to laugh briefly. At least we seem to be getting off on the right foot. Well, Erik from Scala, it's a pleasure to meet you too. I always appreciate the presence of another art connoisseur, although I'm afraid that I'm just a lute player. A musician and a singer? We are made to get along. It would appear so. Let's answer my question though. I know a bunch of musicians would be willing to kill someone to get that loot. How did you come into possession of it? This story might not be as exciting as you could think. For a few years I was a musician from Acadian General, an old man enriched by the wars he had waged and exhausted by them. He loved my music. He would call me to his room just to play something until he fell asleep. He's the one who gave me this loot, to thank me for what I was doing for him. At least that's what he told me at the time. How did you end up here? Seems to take good care of you. I needed a change of scenery, to see the world. I noticed his hesitation. I'm not going to dig any further. We just met, and if he doesn't feel like answering me, I'm not going to force it. However, meeting a musician on the road to Frostfang at the same time as me, That can only mean one thing. It seems that I met my first competitor. So, I guess you're on your way to the capital to try and become the next royal bard, am I right? That's right. I heard about the contest organised by the two kings, Lusk and Aeon, and I couldn't miss such an opportunity. In that case, I hope you're ready to see me win. Oh, really? Do you think you can do better than me, or I already have experience serving a court? Hackett smiles as he looks at me, getting caught up in this little contest of arrogance between us. I smile back at him while stuffing snow in an iron bin or placing it on the fire. But you think that I never had to sing in front of the nobility, Know that I had the pleasure of giving the public and private performances to the greatest nobles of the kingdom. But you never had royalty in your audience, did you? He looks at me all proud of himself, obviously waiting for an answer. Honestly, what am I supposed to say to that? Of course I never played for a king. I try to find some witty remark. It looks like this time I have to concede the victory to Hackett. No, but it's the first time for everything. He smiles at me again. I see him blinking tiredly. With all of this chatting, I almost forgot he must be exhausted after his involuntary nap in the snow. I can't allow him to sleep. Not yet. He'd have to drink something first, just to get some heat in his stomach. After briefly rummaging through my bag, I pull out a small pouch of weed, a mixture of nettle, mint and sage, and toss a pinch into the melted snow on the fire. I know you're tired, but try to stay awake a little longer, will you? You need to drink something warm. All right. He yawns loudly after answering. Looks really drained from everything. Don't make me slap you to keep your eyes open. You wouldn't dare. You'd be surprised to see what I dare to do. I do my best to try and look threatening, only get one of the most dubious looks in response. I guess looking scary or being a white rabbit half the size of everyone around you is more complicated than I thought. A few seconds looking at each other with trembling lips, we both burst out laughing. Well, I just met him. I got along strangely well with Hackett. I guess saving someone's life can make things easier. I finally take out my cup, filling it with the herbal tea that I'd warmed before giving it to the falcon. He holds it for a moment between his talons. The warmth of the beverage must do him good. While he's busy drinking and warming up, I quickly set up the tent hanging from my bag, so we can at least sleep in some form of shelter. After a while I start to hear a noise, and turning around I see Hackett with his head lowered to his chest, snoring softly, his talons still tightly clamping his cup. At least he'll have drunk something. I hope he doesn't get sick now. I just have to finish setting up the tent, where it's both inside it, and I can fall asleep too. Hope there'll be no bad dream this time. I really don't need this right now. There's no denying it. Travelling with someone is clearly much more pleasant. Especially because Hackett is a good companion. Sure, he doesn't have a clear to walk in the snow, but at least he doesn't spend his time complaining. I remember a trip with a musician who kept crying over anything and everything. It's too cold, we walk too much, we don't have enough beer. I was glad Rago kicked him out of the band as fast as he did. We got up relatively early, we're able to walk a lot. We are in the middle of the afternoon, and unless I'm mistaken, we should have an hour left to walk before reaching the capital. Frostfang. Never been there, and I'm really curious about what the city looks like. In the distance in front of us, we can already see the mountain behind the city, the Fang, which gives it its name. Erik, do you already know where you plan to sleep when you get there? Guess you can't just pitch a tent in the middle of the street, do you? It shouldn't be a problem. Most inns will give us a room in exchange for our services. We'll just have to offer them a little ballad and we'll have our beds for the night. We? Do you want me to stay with you? Why not? Besides, I don't know the city any more than you do, so if it means being lost, we might as well be lost together, right? Not to mention I saved your life and haven't had my reward yet. No, I'll let you go until it's done. I look at him with a grin as he rolls his eyes, yet he's smiling just as much as I am. I guess I'm stuck with you for a while then. You say that like I'm annoying. You break my heart, Hackett. I'm absolutely sure you'll get over it. Considering the travelling bard's reputation, I think you know it all when it comes to broken hearts. I try to look overly shocked. How dare he consider the travelling bard's reputation seduces applies to all of us? Well, all right, it's true when it comes to me, but that's not the point. I'm about to answer him when he interrupts me and I walk by grabbing my arm, pointing in front of him. Looks like there's someone sitting a little further down the road. I look where Racket is pointing, and yes, it looks like there is someone there. Someone who now seems to be beckoning at us. It looks like he saw us. Think he needs help? I guess. I'm not sure why someone would be sitting like that waving at strangers if he didn't need it. It's quite a coincidence that on the 2-day trip I ran into 2 people who needed my help. Well, this one seems to manage not to fall in the snow. Now that I think about it, it's a bit too much of a coincidence to my taste. It won't be the first time I've seen someone try to scam travellers this way. A thief passing himself off as injured so people let their guard down. He could stab us once we are close enough. We can take a look, but let's be careful. Why? Do you think there's something wrong? Let's just say all the strangers on the road are not necessarily bird-brained Macadians. It takes a second for him to realise what I just said, and I have the satisfaction of seeing the surprised look on his face. As we get closer, I can make out more of our mysterious stranger. He looks like a dog, a husky, sitting on the rock by the side of the road, rubbing his ankle with one paw and waving us with the other. I'm quite reassured at the sight of the emblem he wears on his leather armour, a bear's head with its maw wide open, bearing silvery fangs on a field of black, Frostfang's coat of arms. Probably one of the city guards on patrol in the area. Strange to see him sitting alone by the side of the road, though. "Yeah, can you help me? I slipped on a patch of ice and I think I twisted my ankle." Ouch. I think it happened at least once to everyone I know. It's never pleasant. Hope he hasn't sprained himself, or worse. "Hey, I'll give you a hand, don't worry. You're not the first to have to save from a cold-related incident today." I give Aket a playful smile as he looks away. He thinks I'm not going to use this to annoy him as much as I can. He is greatly mistaken. "Thank you so much. Are you on the way to the capital?" He turns his injured leg towards me while keeping his paw on his ankle as I lean forward. I'm obviously neither a healer nor a herbalist, but I've seen my share of sprains before. Should at least be able to tell if it's something serious or not. "Indeed, we hope to arrive soon. It was a long journey." "Oh, eh? Yes, you must have taken a lot of things with you to travel then." I suddenly stop. There's something wrong. First, the dog has tightened his fingers against his ankle. Secondly, it's pretty clear he's trying to hide the wound. Finally, I really don't like the way he pronounced that last sentence. As if to add to my fears, I heard a distinctive sound of paws walking on the snow coming from behind us. Shit. "Erik, I think we have a problem." I know. The husky quickly gets up and he draws a knife from under his coat. The bastard wasn't hurt at all. On top of that, the emblem on his chest disappears in a faint glow of light. Brand Valeria. Fuck. Looks like I am the fool this time. "Boss, did you see that? Told you it would work. Look at the bird, he hasn't has gold on his face." Yeah, I saw that, Yaka. Well done, boy." The voice coming behind us could trigger an avalanche. My first instinct is to tell myself the guy who just spoke would make one hell of a baritone. Second thoughts, we are in big trouble as if he's as huge as his voice suggests. When I turn around, I have confirmation that both of my thoughts are correct. In front of me stands an absolutely gigantic bull with a sword resting on his shoulder. He smiles cruelly at me when our eyes meet. Next to him is another husky, also smiling. But now there are 3 of them, there might be more. Damn, we're screwed. My prey instincts take over for a brief moment. The only thing on my mind is to flee right now. But I have no escape route, no place to run. A brief glance at Aked also informed me I probably can't expect anything from him. The falcon looks absolutely terrified. The weight of Owen's sword reminds me of its presence and of the wolf's teachings. I don't think I can beat 3 opponents at the same time, but I could hurt one of them and run. I'm pretty quick and falcons are supposed to be 2. It could work. But that's only something I'm able to win against one of them before the others can react. Am I willing to take the risk? No. There are 3 of them, and let's be honest, I never really paid attention to what Owen was telling me during practice. I was way too busy paying attention to his bare chest. My charm was always my biggest strength. I don't see why it'd be any different this time. It's up to me to try and talk my way out of this shitty situation. I briefly signal Aked to get behind me. Hope he gets the message. There's this Yaka behind me. 1 enemy is better than 2. Come on, Erik. It's just a show like any other. You played this character hundreds of times. Put a big charming smile on, a playful glint in your eyes, and off you go. Gentlemen, it's a pleasure to meet you. As you can see, it seems your companion is feeling perfectly healthy after all. I therefore suggest we say goodbye to each other and we all go on our separate paths. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Aket nodding. Guess I can't expect too much from him right now. Must be the first time he's been in this kind of situation. Unfortunately, I can't say the same, but before I could count on Owen and the rest of the band to protect me. Really? I don't know. I'm sure you could help us a bit more. A small donation to help poor travellers. I'm afraid we're as poor as you are, so if you just let us through and... How about we stop the bullshit, Bunny? Your little speech would work a whole lot better if your buddy didn't have gold all over his face. I turned to Aket, who was scratching the fine gold lines under his eyes with the end of a talon. Shit, how could I forget he had that? Look, we don't want any trouble. We really have nothing of value. All we want is to get to Frostfang. I'm sure we can find a way to... I'm interrupted by a sharp pain in the muzzle as I step back before falling to the ground, my ass in the snow. My vision is blurred for a moment. I run my paw over my nose, quickly feeling it covered in a hot liquid. Look at my fingers, they're stained red. The world is now over me, fist outstretched, satisfied smile on the face. I finally understand what happened. He just hit me with a punch in the nose. It fucking hurts. Why don't I stop shaking? So I look at my opponent, a shiver runs through me, and I finally get it. I'm just as terrified as Aket. Now that I have no control of what's to come, all I can do is show my fear. Here's a look that pleases me a lot more. Your little speech was funny for a moment, but it's quickly getting tiring. I much prefer you like that. I stay there, staring at him, shaking without the strength to say anything. To be trying to protect myself, to do something. Why can't I find anything to say? Why am I unable to fight back? I turn my head to Aket, who seems to be in the same condition as me. No help from this side. I'm alone. I'm absolutely, totally alone. Once again. I can see a glow through the bull's clothes, and flames rise up along his horns, covering them with fire and raisins to prolong each of them. Great. I'm going to die here, charred by an asshole for trying to be smart. When the bull approaches me, I close my eyes. Hopefully it'll be quick. I don't want to see what happens to me. Time seems to stop as I hear a high-pitched noise. It sounds like some sort of joyous whistling coming from behind me. I dare to open my eyes again despite my fear of being killed by the bandit. He seems as surprised as I am, looking in the direction from which the sound came. I turn around to try and figure out what's going on, find myself displaying an expression of disbelief mixed with a glimmer of hope. About 10 meters behind me is one of the strangest duos I've had the chance to see in my life. Larger than two strangers is the Black Panther, from what I can guess. It's pretty hard to tell considering most of his body is covered in plate armor mixed with thick fur. Even his muzzle is hidden under some sort of metallic mask, revealing little more than his ears and the lower part of his jaw. This at least has the merit of highlighting his dark yellow eyes, staring menacingly at the group of bandits. Despite the warrior's appearance, the person next to him is the strangest. This one seems to be the exact opposite of the panther. The paw resting nonchalantly on his hip elicits smiles as he watches us. It seems to make up for all the armour his feline partner wears, since he appears to be almost naked. He sports what appears to be a feathered loincloth, as well as a gold and jewelled necklace and armbands. I have no idea how this guy hasn't turned into an icicle yet. Not only is it cold enough to freeze the snow under our paws, but he's also a reptile. There's a reason why they're extremely rare in Frostfang. They're much less tolerant of low temperatures than most other species. And there he is, practically naked and perfectly comfortable with both paws planted in the snow without any protection. What the fuck? While my poor brain is still trying to comprehend and register the various shocks I've experienced since this morning, the reptile takes a few steps forward and speaks up. Good, now that I have your attention, it looks like we've walked into an unfortunate situation. What do you say we try to work this out as gentlemen? I have a better idea. How about I cut off your head and shove it far up your ass? Unfortunately, I'm afraid that's not an option. You see, I have a hard time walking past two cute guys in distress without wanting to protect them. Two cute guys? I'm the first to accept a compliment. I'm not sure now is the time to flirt. I guess it's easier for the lizard to joke around when he's not the one standing next to a sword-wielding bull with flaming horns. A counter-proposal. Lay down your weapons and get out of here. I have no desire to resort to violence, and I'm sure we'll all appreciate being able to put this whole situation behind us. The armoured panther growls slightly to support the lizard. There are more of us now, and the warrior seems able to handle several bandits on his own. That might be enough to deter our attackers. To begin to hope that things can be settled peacefully, I feel myself being pulled and thrown by the bull into the arms of the dog next to him. The latter grabs me by the chest, holding me against him with one paw. I feel something thin and cold sliding against me, slowly going towards my head. Oh no, I think he's getting ready to slit my throat. Keep calm, don't move. Most importantly, don't try to bullshit your way out of this situation. I don't think you understand the situation you're in, scaly ass. Now run, and leave your jewellery here, otherwise the rabbit dies. My eyes roam around the landscape in front of me, looking for a solution, something to do to get me out of this situation. Hackett is now kneeling in the snow, a panicked expression on his face as he silently cries. There's no point in looking for help there now. To find something to get us out of here. That search is quickly interrupted when my eyes meet those of the lizard. He smiles at me briefly, trying to reassure me, I guess. It doesn't work. I feel myself trembling under the grip of the bandit who threatens me. I am totally at his mercy, powerless. Our would-be saviour, however, speaks again, a bored look on his face. Oh, I wouldn't have done that if I were you. Hey, at least I tried. Avekad! The lizard's last word is shouted. A few moments later I can hear a slight hiss, followed by a thud. The dog lets out a soft sigh and I can feel something warm running down my shoulder. Turning my head, I see my coat turn dark red as my attacker's grip loosens. The knife falls to the ground, and the husky with it, collapsing in the snow which also turns red. An arrow is stuck in his throat, shot with such force I almost went through it. He is dead. I have his blood on me, and he is dead. I hugged myself, trying not to shake anymore. Come on, Erik, this is not the first time you've seen a corpse. It's not the first time. It's also not the first time you've had someone else's blood on you either. No, shut up. I am not going there. I need a distraction. Something's occupying my mind. Quick. A metallic noise comes from behind me. Perfect. Exactly what I needed. When I turn around and see that the panther is now firmly holding his longsword, pointing at the bull. The first time since our intervention began, I can hear his deep voice. Last chance. Put down your weapons. There's no need for more suffering. To end up executed? Thank you, but I'd rather try my luck right now. As the bull speaks, the fire on his horn seems to intensify. It forms a single large flame projecting in the direction of the armoured feline. Well, I expect the panther to try to avoid the projectile, or at least activate his own brand. He just stands there, letting the flames reach him. A split second before the warrior is hit, the fire just seems to disappear as if it wasn't there to begin with. What the? A brand eater! Oh, so that's what it is. A bearer of the brand of Arakar, god of war, whose only power is to prevent other brands from working. They're extremely rare. It's the first time I've had the chance to see one. Kaka, get out of here. I'll keep them busy. Boss! Run! The husky lets out a growl before turning around and he starts to run away from our rescuers. He only has time to take a few steps before an arrow hits him in the back, quickly followed by a second one in the neck. Just like his partner, the dog collapses in the snow after the first shot, moaning in pain before the second arrow finishes the job. The bull roars with rage upon seeing his henchman on the ground. The flames on his horns blaze even more, forming a crown of fire around his skull, heat spreading around him, melting the snow and distorting the air. I'll kill you all! Before he can do anything, the panther confronts him. The masked warrior is incredibly fast for someone carrying so much metal on him. The bandit barely has time to raise his weapon to block that of his opponent, the clash of their blades breaking the icy silence. Try to kill me first. The two warriors gauge each other, and then talking. Neither shall let their swords speak for them. The panther has an almost artistic grace, twirling around the bull while hitting these protected parts of his body. The bandit takes advantage of his size to try to keep the distance with his opponent in order to take advantage of his reach. The bull should easily crush his opponent with his strength alone, and yet each of his blows seem to be deflected or dodged if the masked warrior is sliding on his steel. Seconds seem to have turned into hours in this deadly ballet. It's clear the feline has the advantage. In fact, it even looks like he's playing with the bull, taking sadistic pleasure in inflicting small cuts on his calves when his guard is up, then cutting his shoulders and arms when he lowers his weapon. Finally, tired of this game and taking advantage of the bandit's weakening, the panther steps aside and cuts the tendon to the back of his knee, forcing him to kneel down. He brings his sword down on the titan's neck to partially cut off his head, leaving it hanging by a strip of flesh, and a second slash cuts it clean. I remain petrified by this vision, so much so that I don't even realise the lizard is now next to me. I jump when I feel his paw on my shoulder. I turn around and see him give me a sympathetic smile. Hey, sorry about that. You can relax a bit. They'll not harm you anymore. He offers me with a heartfelt smile. I wish I could join him. I can't even bring myself to grin. Something deeply reassuring about being around someone who seems to be in control of the situation. I think I'll be fine. Thank you for everything. He pats me gently on the shoulder, visibly trying to reassure me. The gesture is more than welcome. This day has really been a total disaster. I try to calm down as I replay the flight I just witnessed in my head. Well, the more I come to my senses, the more I ask myself if I can call that a fight. It was a slaughter. Your friend is impressive. And yet he held back. He could have finished much faster. I guess he wanted to have some fun, but the end result is disappointing. But let's focus on you for now, okay? He winks at me, probably to force my attention on him. Not that he needs much to catch my eye. He's more than pleasantly built, and his outfit leaves little to the imagination. He dips his paws in the snow, giving a fair amount in his cupped hands. Within seconds, only steaming water remains. Great, another Argon's brand user. Looks like it's their day. Heard you want to walk around with blood all over you for the rest of the day? It's not going to wash it all away, but it should make you a little cleaner. Unless you prefer the bloody savage style. He laughs briefly before pouring the hot water over my blood-soaked shoulder, without waiting for an answer. I'd like to avoid getting even more soaked than I already am, but he has a point. I'd much rather not have this on me. As I rub, I wince slightly at the thought this blood is from someone else. Not that I'd like it to be mine either. Once the cleaning is done, I turn my head to look at the panther who wipes his blade before slipping into his scabbard. You know, this would be a good time to take care of your companion. He doesn't look great. My companion? For a second I don't understand what he's talking about. And suddenly it comes back to me. Hackett. I forgot about Hackett. I was too absorbed in what was happening to me to think about the falcon. Come on, Erik. You're not supposed to do that anymore. Mercadian is still kneeling in the snow, in some kind of trance. He's staring at the severed head of the bull dripping with blood, look for utter panic on his face. I should do something. I have to move and help him. Thanks again for everything. I have to go. The lizard nods as I rush off to John Hackett, leaning in front of him and trying to get his attention. As soon as he realises I am there, the falcon grabs me by the shoulders and pulls me against him before squeezing me as hard as he can. I almost lose my breath, surprised by this sudden display of affection. Erik, I was so scared. I couldn't do anything. I did not know what to do. I could not help you, and I thought that... I'm going to let him talk for now while I hold him in my arms, gently stroking his head. I don't think Hackett really needs me to say anything right now. He mostly needs to let all his tension and fear. More than anything, he just needs me to be there. In a moment of silence, he raises his beak to give me a worried look, staring at the stain on my coat. But, are you okay? I'm perfectly fine, not even a scratch. It's over now, nothing to worry about, alright? What are the bandits? What if there's something else? I feel him shaking in my arms. He's clearly not able to think straight anymore. He's worried about everything. I'd find a way to calm him down. I remember something. A smile naturally comes to me. I know what to do. Hackett, can you do something for me? Close your eyes for a moment. What? I don't think how that would help. Trust me, okay? I promise he'll be fine. I wait to make sure he does what I ask. Then clear my throat before I start singing. It's been so long, I hope I'm not going to make a mistake in the lyrics. Don't fear the howling wind, nor the shadows in your mind. 1,000 stars will shine, 1,000 more will smile. Here comes Argon and Ilaria. Here comes NeveN and Minasa. There is no night without morning, and soon the sun will be soaring. I repeat the lullaby over and over again, as long as I feel Aket trembling in my arms. Astonishing, I haven't heard it for probably over 15 years now. It came back to me as if I'd sung it yesterday. It's strange the way memory seems to work. I feel Aket's grip loosens slightly as he relaxes in my arms and I stop singing. It's a nice song. You have a really beautiful voice. Thank you. I told you I was going to win the contest, didn't I? I winked at him. Glad I managed to calm him down at least a little. If it hadn't worked, I honestly have no idea what I would have done. I love the song. It's just an old lullaby from my home region. My grandfather used to sing it to me when I was a kid, when I was afraid of something. He would tell me to close my eyes and listen, just like I asked you to do. Seems to work on you too. I guess. Thanks, Erik. I'm sorry, Hey, believe me, I'll lose control sooner or later. You don't have to apologise. I winked at him for looking away, coughing slightly. There's one last little detail to take care of. So, not that I don't appreciate the hug, but I must admit that I'm starting to get cold with my ass in the snow. How would you like to let go of me so we can stand up together? I have the immense pleasure of seeing Aket blush deeply as he lets go of me as fast as he can. He can be cute when he's embarrassed. No, Erik, you promised Rago. You must restrain yourself. At least for now. As we get up, I hear noise in the trees on the side of the road. Someone is heading our way. My ears turn towards the source of the sounds I instinctively prepare to flee. Oh, get out of there. You're scaring them. Well, this violence wasn't enough. And breathe a deep sigh of relief. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Aket doing the same. It's reassuring to see I'm not the only one still on edge. A little noise in the trees was enough to scare him. Walking along the road without him protect them was a terrible idea. The voice is deep and steady. I'd even say it's monotonous, almost bored. A few seconds later, I can see someone coming out of the trees and I have to make a conscious effort not to show my surprise. It's the largest stag I've ever seen in my life. Seriously, I have to look up just to have a chance to meet his eyes. This guy is absolutely massive. To further emphasize the impression he gives, he's carrying a gigantic bow. The weapon is almost his size. Has he managed to shoot anything with that? My gaze briefly meets his. The only thing I can see on his face is an expression of pure boredom. Then he rolls his eyes while walking away to retrieve his arrows from the bandits' corpses. While totally ignoring me. It's not exactly a feeling I'm used to, and I hate it. My eyes remain fixed on the stag as I search for a way to make him acknowledge my presence, in a somewhat subtle way, of course. I were interrupted in my thoughts when the lizard claps his hands, drawing all eyes to him. This may seem a tad abrupt, but I think we should leave as quickly as possible. I suppose you'd rather take a breather, but it's already late and Frostfang isn't close by. Oh, yes. I've had my share of thugs for the day. The lizard laughs at my reaction. However, before he can speak, the panther in armour comes and stands in our way, taking the time to observe us the first time. It allows me to spot something rather unusual. As he stares with inquisitive curiosity, his right eye moves rapidly, while the left remains completely still, staring straight ahead. There's something slightly unsettling in his gaze, and I can't help but let a shiver run down my spine. I also notice something else when Aket catches his eye. For a brief moment, his pupils seem to dilate before he regains control of himself. Is it surprise? I'm not sure. Syed? Aket's reaction is swift. So it's rare if I've seen an Anthracan move his head quite so quickly to signal his disagreement. It's quite impressive, but I wonder how fast he can go. Oh, no, it's Aket. Just Aket, nothing else, please. There's a brief moment of silence. I would really appreciate it if someone would fill me on what just happened. My eyes flicker from the panther to the falcon, hoping one of them will make a move. The armoured warrior finally speaks, this time addressing his scaly companion. My lord, I wish to stay behind. Would you mind letting me discuss with Aket? Lizard looks puzzled for a moment before shrugging as if he doesn't care. You do what you want as long as you catch up with us once your private talk is over. Without waiting for reaction, the lizard strides down the snowy road, or rather quickly by the stag, while I stand there, hesitating whether to follow them too or stay with Aket and the panther. You can go, I promise I'll be fine. Hey, sure, I can stay with you if you prefer. Oh, don't worry, I'm sure we'll just talk. Go join them. I'll explain everything later. So be it. Try to hurry, okay? Won't have to pull you out of a pile of snow again. You stood there too long. I wink at him, looking in the direction of the panther, who completely ignores me, his attention fixed on Aket. He promised he'd explain what's going on here. Hope it's nothing serious. I end up having to rush to join the other two, quickly approaching the stag with something on my mind. I've not forgotten how you completely ignored me until now, sir. I intend to make sure that changes. So, what's Erik going to do to get the stag's attention? We'll find out in the next episode of NeveN. And I hope you're enjoying this. As usual, I have actually read further along in the story than we are in this video. And they're going back over this again. Yeah, I can see some things being seeded for later. There's a lot of interesting information we're going to be gaining as we go through this. And even with that, I'm not quite sure where the story is going to go. There's some interesting things, I think, going to come up. So I'll be definitely returning to this before too long. I still have to work out a bit of a schedule, but probably November we'll be back here with NeveN. And as usual, I put all the links in the description so you can go and support them and download it for yourself and read while I'm not doing the videos. You can find out what's going on and know before everyone else, which is nice sometimes. Now, speaking of Patreon, as we weren't really, as always, I want to say thanks to all my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon. You are very much appreciated. And my top tier patrons are Burnt Toast, Kartek, Gilbers Visser, Besuksu, Larkaskatan, Bastian, Ryan Hall, Tiger Cub, Ida Corval, Anubis Silverwind, Dissonance, Grizz, Spiderling, Kopi, Sindri Dragawolf, Marcus, Evan King, Monolay, Exact, Dumbistachio, Aaron Fox, Mohammed Al-Zamel. And all of you, all the patrons really help things go along with the channel. I probably wouldn't do as much if I didn't have you supporting me. Keeps me going as well. That's is it. Coming up in the week, we will be doing a premiere of Last Day 9 in After Class. It's been a while since we did that one, but I can get back to it now. So we'll be premiering that later in the week, maybe Thursday evening my time. I'll definitely let everyone know when I have the time set up. Oh, we might have a bit of a special guest watching with us. I don't know. I have mentioned it. And then on the weekend, after a while, we'll be turning back to the Minotaur Hotel. We'll see what's going on with Asteria and the rest. But that is it for now. And just assume that Erik has a very good singing voice, as they say in the story, not what you actually hear when I'm doing it. Because I definitely do not. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.